everybody, to the LIPSEY'S Aim Higher podcast. Across from me, as always, Jason Kloster. I'm Rob Aberzino, and happy summer, Jason.
Yeah, Rob. Hey, it's kind of glad to be back up here. We've been traveling a little bit, so it's nice to get back in the office and get back to doing some podcasts.
Officially summertime, and I was out a little bit. I know you were out a little bit, and we all kind of reconvened. We have our weekly management meeting where we all huddle up and talk about the state of LIPSEY'S, the state of the industry, what's going on in the world. And I thought you were on vacation, one of your many Hawaii trips that you take every other month. But no, I'm kidding. But
really,
yeah. Anyways, so you were not in Hawaii, in fact.
No.
Where did you go?
I was actually in Raton, New Mexico.
Raton, balmy this time of year.
Yeah, well, it was pretty. Yeah, it was hot, but it's a dry heat. They always say it's a dry heat.
Right.
Yeah, it's actually not bad.
Yeah.
A little bit of elevation there, so it was nice at night, especially. But I was at the annual Shootists Holiday.
The Shootists Holiday. So I'm not familiar with this, and we discussed this very briefly before the podcast. But I kind of wanted to fly blind a little bit, so I could ask questions because there's probably other people I assume that aren't familiar either. So let's talk about it. So what is it exactly?
Well, it's an event that originated in 1985. The gun writer John Taffin, which I know a lot of people who follow our LIPSEY'S exclusives probably know who John Taffin is. He's been writing about single action and double action revolvers and lever guns and stuff, that kind of the stuff that we like to do for years. And anyways, he started this it was actually a fictitious article that he had written about a gathering with some of the shootist type friends of his, the guys that were either the gun writers or law enforcement guys or some experimenters.
So he made up a story.
He made up a story of inviting, I forget the amount of people, it was around 8 or 10 people, and said, okay, hey, we're going to have this event. You can only bring 2 handguns. I'm not going to tell you what we're doing, and what would you bring, and all this kind of stuff. So he sent letters to all these gentlemen, and they responded back what they'd bring, and he wrote the article about it. Well, they all got together and said, hey, this was actually a great idea. We ought to actually do it.
Yeah,
and so the next year in 86, they all got together and had their first annual meeting.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so,
I didn't know that. So there's rules. Are there still rules? Is that how it goes?
No, it's definitely got away from just bringing 2 guns.
Right.
But it is a kind of an industry focused, I would say it's more of a 6-gun style.
I was going to say it's not necessarily surrounded by new product or like a lot of other events and showcases and shooting events that happen.
It's really instead of it being what I would consider a commercialized new products type event, it's really attended by, and it's invitation only. There's only a few invites every year, and then the members can come once you're voted in.
How many people are there? How many guys go?
There's on an average year about 100.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
it's grown then.
But most of these members are really hardcore gun people.
Right.
I mean, they're the kind of guys that are experimenting. That were powder coating cast bullets, 10 years ago, before it became mainstream. Guys that are experimenting with all different type of cartridges, different types of rifles and handguns. Really, some of the long range shooting feats these guys. I mean, for them, these guys taking a 4 5/8 inch 44 special and shooting a rock at 500 yards is really not a big deal.
Right.
They're sitting here doing it all day.
Jeez.
And so it's a great group of minds who actually shoot and use this stuff year round.
So you're kind of bringing it's BYOG, I guess, right? You're bringing whatever.
Yeah, you bring
what your
interest is.
Yeah,
and
your favorites.
It happens that it's the event, at least since I've been going since 2009, it's been at the NRA Whittington Center in New Mexico, in Raton, which if you've never been to that shooting facility, it's awesome. I mean, they have pretty much every discipline you can think of, you can shoot out there. I mean, if you can haul it, you can shoot it kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have lots of different ranges available. One of the big handgun silhouette ranges is reserved for the shooters for that week.
Right.
But there's other ranges that you can go. You can go shoot the Steel Buffalo at 1,123 yards and stuff like that. And
so you bring obviously your choice firearms, and the other guys are doing the same. Mm-hmm. You kind of swap. You get there.
You'll shoot more of other people's stuff than your own.
Right.
At least in my experience. Yeah. So it's
well, what'd you bring? We have to know what you brought, right?
Well, so this year I brought probably more rimfire than I normally bring just because of the ammo situation. But usually I'm 44 specials, 38s, stuff like that. I'm having a little bit of elbow issue lately, so I've been bringing in my heavy kickers. So I left the 480s and the heavy 45 Colts and stuff at the house. But shot a lot of 44 special. But I brought my Jeff Quinn a GP 100, and that gun shoots great. I mean, we were wearing. They have at this handgun silhouette range. They've got, I think, 25 meter, 50 meter, 75, and 100 meter targets. And the 100 meter is that steel rams. And it was really pretty simple to hit those rams at 100 meters with that gun. Pretty consistent.
What'd you shoot out there that you don't have and that you quickly fell in love with, or several things?
So one of the guys had, I know this, people might have seen him, had one of the 9mm Gatling guns out there, and it feeds off of Glock magazines. That thing was cool. I mean, so it's I think it's 6 barrels, 9mm barrels. It's on I think it comes on a chassis, but he had it on a tripod. And you can adjust the elevation and windage and everything, and it's got the hand crank. But it feeds off of, he had the 33 round Glock magazines or whatever, and you can crank it as fast as you want.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, it's all day. All you heard was that thing going off. You know, so but it was great. That gun was really really cool.
Never got a chance to cool off. I bet. I'm sure.
No, and so that was really pretty neat. One of the guys who's come out there every year, he brings these 11mm Mauser rifles out there, which are really cool old guns, but they shoot great. And we shoot there. It's something called the banana rock. There's this rock that used to be shaped like a banana that's 560 yards or whatever, but it's been shot so much now it's it's about the size of a laptop, you know. And so we shoot that every year with those rifles. I mean, it's just cool like that. I brought my I did bring my Christensen Arms 6.5 Creedmoor out to shoot at the long range stuff, because we don't get a really big chance to do that around here.
The Buffalo, is that what you're shooting at?
It was pretty easy to hit. I tell you that starting going out there, it was what really sold me on the 6.5 Creedmoor. You know, I know everybody loves to hate on the 6.5 Creedmoor right now, but I tell you what, you'll notice it when you go out there, because the first year I went, I had a really super accurate 20-inch 308 heavy barrel gun. It would shoot bug hole groups. So I couldn't wait to bring it out there. And, of course, out to the 500 meter or so targets, man, it was money. And then when I started stepping out to past 1,000, it fell apart quick. And those bullets they were going subsonic. It just wasn't a consistency. So the next year I brought a 20-inch 6.5 Creedmoor, and it was like the easy button. I mean, it was just like you couldn't miss with that thing. The wind, they bullets stayed supersonic way out there. The wind didn't deflect them near as much. It made me a believer, especially for the long range stuff.
So who goes to this? You don't have not name names, but is it? We still have writers and
a lot of gun writers.
Obviously, just gun nuts and gun people. And gun industry people. Guys like you.
And there's a lot. Actually, we had a lot of industry representation this year. A lot of guys from industry. A lot of what I consider, when you say gun industry, a lot of people automatically think of big gun makers, which there was a few guys from those represented there, but also a lot of the what I call the accessory and enhancement industry. Andy Larson from Skinner Sights was there. Cool products. I mean, if you want an aperture sight for your rifle, and check out Skinner Sights. They make great stuff. He was there. Rob Leahy and Mike Baranti, both the leather makers we talk about all the time, were both there with their stuff. And just a lot of people in the industry. I spent a lot of time with Bobby Tyler from Tyler Gunworks. He was there with a lot of his showing off his stuff, and left a few more guns with them.
No doubt.
The drop off and then pick up the next year, kind of thing.
That's awesome.
But so it's a lot of that. It's just it's a really neat event. It's something that I've been going to now for about 12 years, and I just look forward to it.
Do you guys compete at all? Like kind of a gentleman's competition, or
it can be. I mean, the thing is, you get 100 people out there. It can get spread out at times.
That's true.
There's some people like to go shoot the long range stuff. Some people like to shoot the handgun stuff. And but it can be a little bit of that. It's nothing formal like that, but but it's fun. It's funny. I do want to poll the guys though next year and see if we were limited to those two handguns again, what what they would bring.
That would be, yeah.
It's challenging. I rack my brain about it every year what it would be, and it changes all the time.
You need to throw back to the beginning. Have a an anniversary, or maybe an anniversary year or something.
Well,
like
a couple of the original members who still come and everything. It's funny when you ask them about it. What they picked their first time back in 1985 is totally different now than what they pick now. So kind of neat, but.
I have to imagine that's been some influence on you. What'd you say, 12 years you've been going? Yeah. I mean, there's had to be some influence on you.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially maybe some of the more veteran or older guys that
absolutely.
Sort of
I mean, these guys really
changed your mind
pioneered
about things,
a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got, Wayne and Bob Baker, Freedom Arms fame out there.
Right.
I mean, Wayne Baker, he's a World War II veteran, and I believe he's well into his 90s now, but he still gets around, and you talk about a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys, him and Dick Casole were developing the 454 Casole way back when they were taking, old Colts and making oversized cylinders and hot rodding 45 Colts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So to be able to sit down and have conversations with those guys, it does give you some ideas, and a lot of the writers that go and media types that go there, they like the single action type stuff. So it's I like to share some of the stuff that we're working on with them, and they get feedback. During normal years, I usually bring a pile of guns out there for them to, and of course this year it's been a little tight, but
a pile was one.
Yeah, it wasn't much. So.
Yeah.
But but under normal circumstances, I've got all kind of stuff out there, and it's neat for them to play around with it and give suggestions and tweak this and tweak that.
So do you have some younger guys out there now that we're 40-somethings, you and I, so you got some younger enthusiasts that you.
Oh, yeah.
So you've kind of probably been mentored to some degree with some of these guys.
Sure.
And now you're, paying it forward, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
especially in this particular genre of firearms, which is, the revolvers and that sort of thing.
And it's fun. It is rewarding to see somebody who's in their 20s or early 30s being really excited about 44 special, single action revolvers and stuff like that, which you usually associate with old gray hair guys and stuff like that. But it's neat. There's some upcoming talent in the industry and it's really exciting. It's fun to get those guys and watch them be exposed to all that experience, and you remember too. You go back to 1986 through until the early 2000s. This was their one time a year to really get together and share this information. I mean, now you got Facebook groups on everything you can think of. You got internet forums. You got instant access to all this stuff, so you can share the information a lot quicker. But you still got to be back on your range, actually doing this stuff.
Right.
And that's where these guys, the difference is, these are not guys sitting here and read about it on the internet and then give opinions on a Facebook post.
Right.
They actually are out there. They're hand loading. They're shooting.
Yeah, they're living it. Yeah,
these guys
enjoying it.
There's a guy, a friend of mine that goes out there, Randy Arndt. I love Randy. I remember years ago, we're out there, we're shooting, and of course, I'm under the assumption if you're going to shoot long range with a handgun, you'd want a long barrel, right?
Yeah.
And so Randy goes, "No, you really want a 4-inch barrel gun." I'm like, "Man, 4-inch? You crazy?" He goes,
I need something that could reach out and basically touch the target.
Yeah, you need a 6.5 Creedmoor, right?
Yeah.
But so he takes out a 6-inch Smith & Wesson 57-41 Magnum and a 4-inch tentacle gun, and we're shooting at this banana rock at 550 yards with it, whatever.
Oh, wow.
And the 4-inch gun is we're banging away with it,
yeah,
because. Yeah. Through his shooting at the kind of distance all the time, he realized that you don't have to hold up as much front sight because your sight radius is shorter and everything, and it's just easier.
Yeah,
and that's that kind of stuff. You can sit there and theorize on all this stuff, but until you go out there and do it, you really just don't know. But you learn those kind of things. You learn that you don't need a lot of speed to make these long hits and stuff. A 6-gun running a mid-weight 200 to 250 grain type bullet at around 8 to 100 to 1,000 feet per second is really pretty ideal.
Right.
On the surface you think, I need a 325 grain bullet at 1,600.
Right.
Not really.
Yeah.
So it's just stuff like that. You learn a lot.
Yeah.
You definitely come back with a new focus on what you think you need and what you don't. And it's funny, every time I come back from there, I go through at least a 60-day window where I don't want to carry anything but a large bore revolver.
Right.
Then I come back and I got to ease back into my Glocks and stuff.
Right.
But for a while, it's Smith end frames and 44 specials. So
well, yeah, I was going to say this has to be one of your favorite events of the year because no one's really, you're not worrying about new product or really having to critique or absorb anything. You're shooting for fun. You're taking the best, most fun stuff you have, as is everybody, and swapping it and swapping stories and technique. And
it is.
And
for somebody who that's what they love, it's not work.
Yeah.
It is R&D, and it's going out there and getting your hands dirty and everything. But when you love it, it's I would say.
Do they shake you? Well, two questions here. Do they shake you down for new exclusives? And they give. I bet they just hand you a list.
Oh yeah. Okay. I actually was handed two lists.
Yeah.
This year. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, do you draw ideas? I'm sure you get ideas from everywhere when it comes to exclusives and things like that. Sure. But this has to be a pretty nice pool to pull from as far as ideas.
It's a gold
and knowledge.
mine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and it's the tweaks. And sometimes it's the stuff that you don't see on the surface.
Yeah.
It's the you should really put a locking base pin on that gun,
right?
Or you should you need an 11-degree force and cone cut on this gun, or maybe you ought to crown the barrel on this, or this cylinder throat dimension is really more advantageous for cast bullets.
Yeah.
And most guys shooting these calibers are going to be shooting cast bullets.
Yeah.
It's that kind of stuff that, while it's not necessarily going to be on a spec sheet or something that you can pick up at the counter and see, but it's that kind of input that sometimes goes into these guns that helps make them a little bit better. And that's the kind of stuff that you get from these guys. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I'm sure you guys traded a lot of good information there. Industry-wise and everything else. I think we can feel a turn, back to our management meeting, the other day even. We're starting to, hear some stories. I know you're in direct contact with, a lot of dealers, guys you've worked with for a long time. Sure. So I guess we could spend a few minutes on where we're at. So here we are in June. Ammo is starting to peek its head out a little bit.
It looks like
which is good. And
some of the the 5.56 9mm, it seems like it's starting to ease back in, and the prices are starting to come off the cliff. So to say.
Yeah. What about maybe some dealers? What are some things you're hearing? From some of our dealers and people that or a trip like this and the guys in the industry, as far as maybe the flow of guns and the flow of production and things like that.
Right. Well, it seems like the consensus that I've gotten from the several dealers I've talked to is that the AR market is starting to taper a little bit, especially the high end stuff.
Sure.
That's starting to ease up a little bit. Handguns are still
hot,
still doing good.
Yeah.
Some of the revolvers are still super hot. And I think part of the reason is because a lot of the makers who make revolvers and auto pistols have really focused on auto pistols.
Right.
They haven't made as many revolvers. So, I think got to be a little careful. I think there's a little bit of just pin-up demand just because of the lack of availability.
Right.
But there's been an overall higher interest in revolvers.
Yeah.
The one area where I think a lot of dealers are still a little concerned is hunting ammo. While they are starting to see 9mm and 5.56 and some of that kind of stuff kind of starting to buckshot, starting to ease back in, I think they're still a little nervous about some of the.
Is that because all the focus and concentration is just it's going into 9mm, 223, whatever?
It's an economies of scale thing,
right?
When you're setting up all this stuff, man, you can just keep pumping along. You got more orders than you can ever fill.
Right.
Why would you want to change the machines to go start making 7mm Weatherby?
So we're not, it's again, we're June, so we're not. It's not hunting season, but it's not that far away either, though. When you're looking at it, just
especially out west. I mean, those guys are starting to hunt in August, September.
Right.
So, and if you're and this is the thing, I think the days, it's a whole hunting thing as a whole. 20 years ago, most people they bought their ammo a couple months, maybe a month before hunting. They sighted their gun and that was it. with this current trend of long-range shooting, guys actually going out and shooting their hunting rifles at steel all summer, they're buying ammo year-round.
Right.
It's not that, it's October, I need to go buy my deer ammo.
Box of 308, and I'm good to go.
And I'm good for the next 2 years.
Right, yeah.
Now, I think, there still is that. There's always going to be that.
Right.
But for the most part, a lot of these guys now are shooting year-round.
Yeah.
They're looking for components year-round.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think, I just think that a lot of the more obscure stuff, maybe some of the newer stuff is going to be a little tougher to get. It's funny, a little side, a little kind of funny how it all works. If you are really in the market for a new gun, you ought to look hard at a 6.8 Western, the new round that Browning and Winchester came out, because the ammo's available.
New to me, but
the 6.8 Western is kind of, it's a 270 diameter bullet that's similar to, say, like a 6.5 PRC.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of similar to a 270 Winchester short mag, but it's more optimized for the heavier, higher BC bullets.
That's a new round?
It's a new round. They just introduced it, a few months ago.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about it is Winchester and Browning are making the guns for it. Well, it's a brand new cartridge, so it's not like somebody's got an old gun that they need to stockpile ammo for.
Yeah.
So if you don't have one of those rifles, there's no need to buy that ammunition.
Yeah.
So that ammunition is pretty available. So if you are in the market, check out the 6.8 Western. The ballistics are actually really good on it, and ammo is readily available. So,
well, you heard it here first. You heard it. Breaking news. What else are you hearing out there, though? So, handguns, long guns, hunting rifles.
Hunting rifles are still hot for us.
Yeah.
I think hunting is going to continue to have an uptick. For a while. I do think you'll probably see things fall out more into more common stuff. I think 308, 30-06.
You think the log jam will clear by hunting season a little bit? I'll
be honest with you, this year for ammo wise for hunting, I don't think so. Just from what I'm hearing. And we don't do ammo, but from what I'm hearing from everybody, they're not super optimistic on that. If you got if you shoot a 280 Ackley improved, and you like a certain nozzle partition load,
it's gonna be tough.
You might have a hard time getting not only something in that cartridge, but in that particular load. You might need to find something, try something else if you can find it.
Yeah.
So, heck, I've got a 6.5 PRC, and it's been tough getting ammo for it.
Yeah.
So,
oh man, well, there we go. There's a little update. It's crawling along. I can't say where it's moving fast.
It's getting better. I think it's getting better, though.
I've seen a few more boxes on our shelves, not many, but a few, as opposed to being able to see from one side of the warehouse to the other or straight through the racks. I think short of some other craziness that we're not accounting for, I do think ammo prices have already peaked, and I think they're going to start to come back down a little bit. Yeah. I actually picked up some primers the other day. Yeah, whoa.
Yeah, at a local dealer, been a friend of ours for years. It's about an hour from Baton Rouge. He had some small pistol primers, and I was like, really?
Yeah.
So that's always a good sign. That kind of stuff's starting to come back out.
Yeah, I've seen them at some local stores here. They're they quantity limit everyone, which is fine, but at least there's some ammo sitting there.
Yeah.
As opposed to not too long ago there was just it wasn't even worth going into the store to look for.
Right.
But some of them are hey, you can go buy your 2 boxes and come back tomorrow and get 2 more, I guess.
Right.
And, it's a slow trickle, but
it's better than nothing.
Yeah, it is.
And I do, and you're going to start seeing some new products being launched.
That'll be huge. That's something that
a lot of pin up that
doing this podcast as we've done it. We've got 10 or 11 episodes in now, and we haven't been able to talk a lot about a lot of new guns.
That's really kind of what we came up with this whole concept. It's like, hey, we can talk about the new guns and new exclusives, and we've had nothing.
But hey, a little teaser: we do have one coming up that we're going to talk about. I think next week. So
I believe on the 30th of this month.
Okay,
there's going to be a new gun. One that I am super excited about.
All right, cool. Well,
it's put this way: I will get one immediately.
Okay. Wow.
I don't say that often.
That's quite an endorsement.
Yeah. It's one that I've been looking forward to for a long time.
Cool. Well, I can't wait to talk about it.
Yep.
You guys will you'll hear about it very soon. So we do have a new gun coming. Hopefully more after that. So I know you've got some exclusives in the works.
Yeah, we do. The manufacturers are starting to kind of listen
again.
Yeah. Hey, they remembered my phone number.
Yeah,
my phone
yeah.
actually rang the last month. But
yeah.
we do. We've got some a couple of line extensions in the Ruger Bisleys coming out.
Yeah.
That hopefully should be out before too long. I think people will appreciate. And we've always got some other things that that's kind of been in the queue that I think as productions they start to fill back out and have some holes, they'll be willing to fill pretty quick.
Let's get them done by SHOT Show, so we've got something to hang on the walls, right?
That's right. We got a big SHOT Show booth to fill.
That's right. So
that's a whole nother episode.
Well, good times, Jason, as always. And everyone, you can go to LIPSEY'sGuns.com. You can check out all of our podcasts there, or our YouTube channel, or any of the socials at LIPSEY'S Guns, Facebook, Instagram, and so forth. And I think that's a wrap. So until next time, aim higher.